Slicks.
Yeah, Luca Marini's gone out on a medium front, according to our information on the timing screens. He had another disappointing day yesterday, although not all through his own problems or his own making a mistake into turn 16, which cost him time, and of course he didn't have an opportunity to rectify that in the latter stages. So Marini, along with his teammate Marco Bezzecchi, set to go through Q1, but Bezzecchi was getting rave reviews from his team when he came into the box yesterday. Very, very happy with the work he's...
Right at the doorstep of the Italian, as Lewis said, the problem with the radiator yesterday dumped him in last place. Of course, he was very, very strong. Keep an eye on Marini, because if he can get it going here this weekend, he was third quickest in the test here. He's been throwing a bit of a curveball, like most of the riders have. Moves down to a 1:37.860.
Unfortunately for his teammate, though, who will be hoping these times tumble a lot more than these tyres and stay off the wet patches. We saw a lot of this in Moto3 earlier on today. If you touch the white lines, it is absolutely hazardous, even when the track is full.
Of keeping temperature in the tyres, you know, to warm those tyres when it's not perfect conditions and you can't out with sometimes a brand new soft, because they didn't use one yesterday, but that's on the front. But they're all using used softs on the rear to save their allocation, obviously, for Q1, Q2.
The European Grand Prix in the hands of an AF Bastianini.
On board then with Fuller Miller, 12 laps on that soft tyre combination, the slick tyres there. He was the first man to switch over, 17 to turn 5. Did a great job of cleaning up the circuit after all the stones that were being picked up last time. And that's the second time, though. He's just gone in a little bit hot. He did it at the first corner, a couple of laps up in the late yellow flag drama with Bastianini and Marc Marquez. So a Friday to forget for Mia and Alex Rins.
The race pace they've got, but it never really materialised. They didn't have the tyre left at the end of the race, and the question that was asked with this new Suzuki top speed that they've now inherited in extra horsepower was whether that's going to affect them in other areas and whether they'll still have their tyre management.
And we normally know that Joan Mir is one of the most aggressive riders. He comes charging through the pack from poor qualifying so often over the last couple of years. And yeah, he's podium charged. Boy, does he need a big weekend here in Mandalika. He said just vital that he sees the checkered flag coming into this weekend. He's just gone top of this damp F-Day, give you mechanics an unwanted repair job and potentially, of course, risk injury for yourself. So our world championship leader not really at Doha. It was a real problematic start for Miller. Retirement damp conditions in Indonesia. A 1:36.056. That's the benchmark lap time in this standalone session. That's the times you can see on the screen, the left-hand side of your screen.
Don't have to worry about sweating it out in Q1 this afternoon, but he was particularly happy with the new casing on the construction on the rear tyre brought by Michelin. He feels it gives him better. Johann Zarco, what's the Frenchman been up to into turn 16?
Yeah, that's the mistake we've seen so often coming into that crucial final sector. The last, that's going to be crucial in the race there, isn't it? To see how it pans out in those last 2 or 3 corners, particularly if there's a battle of just conditioned his normal aggressive attacking style in the Grand Prix. He was happy to settle for the 11th place rather than take too many risks, and he said clearly that warm-up crash just did jolt his confidence a little bit. It doesn't look...
Bagnaia, unsurprisingly, doesn't quite has show a wheel up the inside of Marc Marquez. Nothing to be gained from into that top 10. Is Marc Marquez going to get into the low 35s? Not quite, a 35.5. Bagnaia just behind him moves up to 7th on a 36.4.
These, of course, had a battle royale.
Rins has had some sort of problem out on track as well, and he's now made his way into the pits. So, yeah, 1 or 2 issues out there for the riders out there. Some mechanical gremlins creeping in. But Fabio Quartararo, you'll certainly want to get those gremlins out of the way, because he certainly appears to have
that 1:35.550. He's still got Pecco Bagnaia for company behind him as well. Q1, which potentially will feature this man, Marc Marquez, the man directly behind him as well, Pecco Bagnaia, Joan Mir and Pol Espargaro was waving the hand. How much are you going to pay me for the tow? Doesn't really unsettle Jack Miller. Wrapped around his head now. What's going on here? Fabio Di Giannantonio, I think he's trying to alert Giannantonio to some kind of a problem. This is at turn 14.
He's gone up into 3rd place on a 1:35.8, but as mentioned, his place in Q1 looks pretty locked in at the moment. Fabio.
That last lap from Alex Rins yesterday in FP2 could prove to be so pivotal. He had to really dig deep for that 1:32.10. His riding kit inside fridges, Thursday in particular, was pretty much unbearable. You couldn't really walk more than 10 metres.
He's very challenging and very fast. Marc Marquez even found it a little too fast for him at the pre-season test here back in February. But the riders are constantly having to work to the absolute limit around this circuit. And of course, over 27 laps on Sunday, you can imagine just...
Like we mentioned, they've done a fantastic job here on our return to MotoGP action for the first time since 1997. Now, Marc Marquez is the first rider to break into the 134s.
And on board with the world champion.
That's exactly what happened yesterday. That is the exact repeat of what happened to him yesterday. So that's his latest lap, his 18th of this session, gets him down to a 134.3 on a chance to fight for that top 10. He said without the front brake problem at the end of FP2, he had no doubt. But just reporting that Polispargro has slammed in a brand new soft Michelin rear tyre to try and see if there is a lap time out there. He was 19th at the end of play yesterday.
One or two riders improves. The reason he's got a 0 next to his name, by the way, on the graphic there is because he's outside the conditions.
Yeah, it's interesting, as Piero Taramasso alluded to at the start of the session in his chat with Simon Crafart. Now, these are conditions which we could get replicated in tomorrow's
champion. He already pulled the move on Pecco Bagnaia there a few laps ago. He's now got up the inside of the Frenchman on the Pramac into the top 10 overall, but an electrifying session for Marc Marquez. Look at the laps coming in from the two VR46 Ducatis. Well, Marco Bezzecchi could find himself somewhere near the top 3 here with this. Marc Marquez over the line, a 34.1. That's a fraction slower than second. Marini to third. Marco Bezzecchi will come across